Good morning, everyone. I am Sia Bajaj, member of Finance and Investment Cell, Shahid Bhagat Singh Evening College. I welcome you to today's episode of the Finance Burrito. Today we have Tushar Luthra with us, who has done his MBA in Marketing and Finance from Thapar Institute of Engineering and Technology, Patiala. He is the co-founder of Mount Eureka, which was India's first peer learning community for kids in SCEM skills. Currently, he is working with Meesho in category management still. Welcome, Tushar.
Hi everyone for calling me here. Very grateful that I got the opportunity to share some of the knowledge with the students.
So, without any further delay, let's dive into the question. So, my first question would be that nowadays many people are planning to start their own startup. So, can you tell me your biggest challenge with founding your own company?
Yeah, sure. So it was kind of an accident. I did not plan to start a startup because I graduated from my college in 2019 and I was working in the corporate at that point of time. It was purely by accident. What happened was that I knew someone. This guy was, I knew this guy very well. So it was his idea so he was thinking that he want to build something in this space, but the problem whenever you are trying to build something is that you can never build it alone. You need
Hmm.
some people with you, people who can believe in the idea, people with on whom you can trust, and people who are also you are sure that they can get shit done. So I feel that maybe I can take this leap of faith, and I just quit my job, and then I just you know just quit my very comfortable corporate job and got into this world of startups. So coming back to your original question, the biggest challenge has been that, first of all, taking that leap of faith, because most of us are in a comfort zone, and so was I was very in comfortable zone, that I'm working well, doing well in corporate. uh, but I felt that there can be something more. I can do maybe a lot more than this. Maybe this is my potential is way beyond that. So that is, first of all, that you have to take a leap of faith. Second, and most importantly, is that you have to believe in the idea. So a lot of people get into the world of startups just because it sounds sexy. It is like, maybe you are getting the post of co-founder. People a lot of time link it with their own status, that this is maybe putting them on a higher hierarchy in the world of status and all. But that is a very wrong way of looking at the startup world. First of all, you have to be very passionate about idea. You have to believe in this. If you are not if you're not a person who believes in the idea, you will, after a few months, you will realize that this is not my forte, or you will just have a very negative opinion about the startup world. So second is that you have to believe in the idea. Third is that even if you believe in the idea, whether the problem is worth solving or not, right? Maybe I believe in a idea which is not worth solving for. Maybe I believe that I should actually open a tea stall and sell maybe expensive tea in my locality or in my city. But is
Hmm.
there any demand for it? Is the problem worth solving for? Is it going to give you a good amount of traction? So that part requires a lot of research. You need to research whether this is required, what are other competitors doing in this space, or if there are no competitors, why there are no competitors. Because it is also sometimes scary to, a lot of people think that in the space where there are no competitors, but it is also scary that why there are no competitors. Maybe this problem is not worth
Hmm.
solving for. Maybe other people tried and they exited early. So these are the only 3 points: that first of all, leap of faith, believing in the idea, and third is whether the problem is worth solving or not.
I also think that in when you start a startup, it ultimately leads to gain your knowledge basically, or experience is also a thing. So moving on to the next question, as you know that everyone learns from mistakes. So if you go back to the time, what decision would change as an entrepreneur?
Okay. So, but before that, I would like to, give the audience a gist what is currently happening with me with the startup. So our startup got shut down. We are not operating anymore, but we did really well. So our community, we made a very fantastic learning community in India where a lot of players were not there. We reached to a monthly active users of 20,000 users per month. That too without spending less than 1 lakh rupees. So which was a great achievement where big players like Byju's, Vedantu are also trying to capture the similar share of the market by spending in crores. You are just spending just more less than 1 lakh, and you're capturing a small size of market. So that is that. We also raised a funding of around 40-50 lakhs when we started our startup. But like, as we were not able to raise second round of funding, maybe there was something wrong with the storytelling, or maybe we were not having enough traction. So then we had to shut down our shop, because as all of you know that the most important part of running any startup is that it needs to be cash flow positive, and we were not cash flow positive at that point of time. So that's why we had to shut the startup, and now I'm currently working again in the startup world. I'm working in Meesho. But like, I would like to share my learnings, because sometimes it is that people should learn from the learning of a failure rather than someone who is successful, because someone who is successful maybe will not tell you where they lagged. I can definitely share where we lagged. So first and most importantly, what I in the hindsight when I think is that maybe we gave up too early. Sometimes we were like persistent. We were like very much focused that okay, we are going to solve the problem, because sometimes when there is a lot of cash crunch, you see a lot of news that where companies have to trim their expenses, and the first thing which comes in the company's mind is that they fire employees. And believe me, firing employees is a very 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 tough task. It is not a very easy decision, and it is one of the most difficult decision any CEO or any founder will take. So what we realized was that we had to let go few employees. We had to cut the salaries at that point of time. But the level we reached where we were very much struggling with cash. So what I believe is that maybe we could have tried a little extra. Maybe we gave up early. So what I would tell the audience is that utilize every point where you have every chance to prove yourself, or the maybe work out the startup in a successful way. So don't give up even in the end. Maybe I believe that maybe we gave up too early. um, Second is that we were persistent, but we were not relentless in a very crazy way. So if I talk about one of the top co-founders in the world of Edtech, so I will mention Gaurav Munjal from Unacademy. So this guy, so you would also read an article about him in the Ken, which got published not Ken, in moneycontrol.com. Yeah. So it got published last week only. So if you read that article, you would realize that how crazy Gaurav Munjal is, and how aggressive he was when he was chasing investors for fundraising. So why I mentioned that we were persistent but not relentless was that we were not crazy enough. We were chasing investors, and maybe we were not taking a lot of follow-ups that we could have taken. Maybe एक होता है अब जान उनके पीछे पड़ गए, like just give us the funding, damn it, we are not going to leave the battleground. So I think that attitude is very much important whenever you're in the startup world. So that is my second learning. Third is that what I believe is that execution could have been more faster. So in the world of startup, speed matters a lot. Speed is the most essential thing which makes or breaks companies. And that's why you see companies like Zomato are stepping up in the 10 minutes delivery time zone, because they know that this is going to happen and we need to make it done. So that's why they are trying to develop this whole 10-minute delivery very early. So you have to build the products very fast. You have to experiment very fast. You have to fail very fast. So you have the crux of this whole thing is that you have to experiment fast and fail fast, because if you fail fast, then you realize that what's working, what's not working earlier rather than later on. And next and most important thing is that that me and my co-founder realized that we are not very good at was storytelling. So आपको कहानी भी पेलनी आनी चाहिए सिंपल भाषा में. You need to have this thought process of selling the idea, selling the story. You have to create a aura. So if you talk about an iPhone, so if you watch the launch of an iPhone when Steve Jobs was launching it, it was in a very fascinating way where he was telling people, he was telling the benefits in the terms of they can understand. He was not telling how many GB is this, how many what kind of processor they are using. So he was just selling the whole idea. So you need to be crazy enough to sell the story. And I guess so the one of the best guys in the startup world is Kunal Shah. He's able to sell the story even after having a very basic shitty product. So if he's able to do good amount of funding just by selling stories, so yeah, that is that. So if I have to sum up the points, it would have been like, don't give up early, be relentless in a crazy way. Third is make execution very fast, and fourth is be good in storytelling. Yeah.
So if you will get a chance, so will you again reopen the company?
Maybe not the same one. Maybe if I get the chance to maybe differentiate the idea, or maybe if investors are very confident on the idea, then sure I would. But I think what currently my mindset is that to gain some more experience in the startup world, because I'm very happy in Meesho currently. I'm getting to learn a lot, and I'm learning the execution part here in a better way, because I believe that as I mentioned, that execution could have been better when I was at the startup. So when you're working in those startup where they are growing very crazy, where the growth is very fast and संभालने को बहुत कुछ होता है, संभाल नहीं पाते हो. So I have learned here to manage a lot of things when you are growing at a light speed, and Meesho is growing at a very fast pace. So if I'm able to handle this kind of work, then I'm very confident that I will be able to handle any kind of work in the future. So maybe not now, 1 year down the lane, yes, I will be back in the startup world again.
Okay. So my next question would be that sometimes many people face a problem of low productivity. How would you determine the cause of low productivity?
Yeah, this was the question. This is the thing I struggled with for a lot of years, and I still struggle with. So I'm like a person, like if my day is not productive, at the end of the day, my whole mood goes off. Like what the hell, I was not able to make my utilize my day properly. So the causes behind this is that first of all is the bad planning. You're not able to plan your day. So the hack of this is that I often use, I add the events in my calendar, because hota kya hai ki when you make a to-do list, that maybe let's say I want to research on startups, maybe I want to research on this idea. You make a to-do list, but that to-do list does not have the time कि कितने बजे आपने बैठना है. And when there is no time, you never said, you always, because we all of us are or we always postpone the work. We are very lazy, and so this is a very common human habit. So time is also very much important, and I learned from reading this book called Atomic Habits. You also need to specify when you need to do this work. The best way of doing is that add this in your calendar. All of us have this app called Google Calendar. If you just add that, then you can plan your day very beautifully. So that is that. Second cause of low productivity, I think, is if you're not passionate enough about what you're planning to do. So maybe a lot of people do not go for workouts, right? Even I don't go for workouts because maybe I'm not passionate enough to work out. Maybe I'm not passionate enough to for the output or the end result. But if you're passionate enough for something, you will take it seriously and you will plan your day. So then it will lead to high productivity, of course. And the third and most important reason for low productivity is not able to prioritize. When you have a lot of a lot of tasks on your desk. Sometimes so there is this term called cognitive overload. You get a lot of mental overload that oh my God, I have to do a lot of tasks, and you get into that, anxious stage or tension wala stage where you are not able to, do even one task. So important thing is to identify is that first of all, you are not a superhuman. You cannot do all the tasks, and it is not required to do all the tasks first of all. But it is very much important that you prioritize that which is most important, and which, if I do this task, this will matter the most. So if I have to sum up the whole thing, first is not planning your day. You need to plan day by also telling yourself that when I want to do it. Second is not that you need to be passionate about the work. Third is be very good in prioritizing. That's it.
Even this happens with me कि ये भी कर लो and ये भी कर लो उस
Yeah,
चक्कर में then I lose on what thing is the most important.
it
And
is. It is actually a big problem. A lot of people struggles from it. From it.
yes, yes. I think that I will apply in my life in future that I need to prioritize what is important for me and what is not.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. And moving on to the next question. Business is all about risk, and mostly in the beginning, many people face several risks. Can you tell me a critical risk factor you had identified at your business?
Um, if I talk in the personal way, so the biggest risk in this space was quitting my comfortable job, because let's imagine like you are fresh, you are just straight out of college and you got a good job. And considering we live in India, so parents are very much happy when you get a good paying job, and they plan to, plan your life ahead. So in my case, it was particularly risky, because when I quit my job, that at that time the COVID was at its peak. My parents were shocked, my friends were shocked that why the hell you are quitting your job, and that too at this point of time. Are you crazy? Like दिमाग हिल गया क्या तुम्हारा? क्या कर रहे हो? मतलब when मतलब जब लोगों के मेडिकल्स के बिल फट रहे हैं, मतलब a lot of things are happening, जब लोगों को कैश क्रंच हो रहा है, तब तुम ऐसे तब बोल्ड डिसीजन ले रहे हो. तुम्हें पता है ना, तुम्हें स्टार्टअप से कोई पैसा नहीं आएगा. And I knew it. I knew all of this. But there was also good thing, yeah, or maybe I was lucky enough that things were in my favor. Was that first of all, there was less financial dependency on me. Like my parents were financially independent, so I was not required to send money or contribute to my family expenses. So I consider myself lucky enough. Because of that, I had the freedom or choice to take the risk. A lot of people don't have that freedom, and that's why they are not able to pursue their dreams. I was lucky enough in that way. So quitting my job and going to a uncharted territory was a risk for me, but I was able to take because I was also young. And I felt that a lot of friends also guided me in this way, that ठीक है, मतलब even if the startup does not work out, you will definitely get a job. ऐसा नहीं है, the job market is really good these days. जहाँ पे अच्छा टैलेंट है, जॉब मिल जाता है. बट ऑल यू नीड इज दैट थोड़ा सा टैलेंट, अगर आप फोकस्ड हो, आपको मिल जाएगा. तो पर्सनली तो वही था कि आई क्विट माई जॉब. दैट वाज अ बिग रिस्क फॉर मी. If I talk about professionally, every decision you take in startup, even if the smaller one, has some risk associated with it. So your daily decisions, your daily schedule, your daily life when you are running a company is full of risk. Maybe it's on hiring the wrong guy, because hiring is one of the trickiest part when you're running a company, because considering the teams are small and you need very high efficiency talented people at बिल्कुल सस्ते भाव में. Because the top talent obviously goes to all the top companies and the top startups which are unicorns. But considering आप एक early stage startup हो, when you're not even earning revenue, so you need to find good talent. So hiring is one of the very riskiest thing that you do. But the most critical risk, what I can recall, because considering we were in the edtech space where we were associated with the kids in the age segment of 7 to 14-year-old. So the biggest risk was to how we can make this community, because we made sort, if I define what was the community, it was a combination of Reddit plus Quora for kids, a space where kids can interact, where they can ask questions and all. So the biggest risk was how we can make this a very safe community, जहाँ पे kids are safe, where no kind of bad content is shared. जैसे imagine like if a naughty kid shares a porn video, like that is going to create a very, first of all, आपका brand की ऐसी की तैसी हो जाएगी, right? When if media picks that news, they are going to lynch you. They are going to lynch you literally. They are going to kill you for that. But most importantly is that जो बच्चों के माइंड में गलत इंप्रेशन पड़ेगा, पेरेंट्स के माइंड में गलत इंप्रेशन पड़ेगा. सो उसमें लाइक कंटेंट मॉडरेशन वाज, हम जिससे हम बहुत डरते थे, कि हम घबराते थे कि हाउ टू मेक दिस वेरी सेफ स्पेस जहाँ पे ऐसा कुछ ना हो. तो वी हैड अ लॉट ऑफ चेक्स एंड बैलेंसेस. हम व्हाट वी मेड श्योर दैट कि कोई बॉट्स वगैरह ना आए, बिकॉज a lot of companies use this tactic कि आपने दूसरे कॉम्पिटिटर की वेबसाइट पे आपने बॉट्स भेज दिए. वो बॉट्स लॉग इन करके आपने उसमें पाइथन में स्क्रिप्ट डाल दी कि इस पे जाके यही एक्शन करना है. तो व्हाट वी मेड श्योर कि हमने साइन अप बहुत हमने तगड़ा रखा था कि इसमें OTP भी आए whenever mobile is filled up, and there is also a code that you are filling up whenever you are signing up in the community. So these were the few checks and balances we had, but इससे हम काफी डरते थे कि कुछ वैसा ऊटपटांग कंटेंट ना आ जाए कम्युनिटी में. The next risk was that are you solving the right set of problem? As I again mentioned in the starting, that it is also important to identify that you are solving the problem which is in the top priority and which is worth solving. Matlab, you are solving the problem which parents want, which customer wants. So that is why a lot of company pivots, a lot of companies change their trajectory whenever they are running a startup. So yeah, so if I have to summarize, like professionally, hiring is one of the risks. Making the community very safe place was one of the risks, and the biggest risk is that are you solving the right set of problem or wrong set of problem? So yeah.
Yes, sir. So my next question would be that what is your philosophy towards work? If you could brief us in short.
So there is like no particular philosophy. मतलब एक होता ना, क्या कहते हैं कि मैंने ऐसे कुछ लिखा नहीं हुआ और प्लान नहीं किया. It is just that when you are doing good work on a daily, so the difference between good and great is that great people are consistent in being good. ऐसा नहीं है कि great people are maybe non-ordinary people working extra hours a day, maybe working 18 hours a day or something. It is not that. It is just that they are very much consistent in being good every day. So that is the philosophy. That is not the philosophy. That is the kind of you can say a mantra I try to live by. That I need to be good every day. And the best part about that is that when you are good every day, a lot of people around you know that you are good. Because if I tell you the story about how the whole startups thing started. So when the startup started, I was 24 or 25. Yeah, I was 25 back then. And the co-founder of the startup was 40-year-old. So you can see a lot of age gap, and considering so the co-founder name was Maninder Maan. So Maan sir were like 40-year-old, and he was also coming from a good pedigree college of IIM. And होता ना, कहते हैं यार एक IIM वाला बंदा आपको एक co-founder के दर्जे के लिए क्यों ले रहा है. मतलब मैं भी ऐसे क्वेश्चन करता यार, आई एम नॉट कमिंग फ्रॉम अ पेडिग्री कॉलेज, मैंने कुछ उखाड़ा भी नहीं अभी जिंदगी में कुछ, and this guy is asking me to be the co-founder and giving me the commands of the company, which is like a very big decision. And I still question मान सर कि अरे यार आपने मुझे ऐसी अपॉर्चुनिटी क्यों दी. But when what I realized was that he came to know that I was doing good on a daily basis, right? So that is why my whole point was that अगर आप daily अच्छा काम कर रहे हो, then you will surely become great, or you will surely stand out. So yeah, that is only philosophy I try to live by.
What I feel that you have to be consistent in whatever line you go. And moving on to the next question, any tip to the student on raising fund for the idea?
Yes, so this is one of the questions a lot of people ask me, that how to raise funds. One of the most important thing when you're running a startup is also to raise funds. Funds are the most important part, because that will help you to grow to 10x levels. Let's not admit it, companies with big war chest are growing at 10x levels because they are able to take up the heavy losses, they are take up the afford the heavy CAC, that is the cost of acquisition of customers. Why they are able to do it? Because उनकी जेब भरी हुई है, right? So first of all, whenever you want to raise funds, so the first approach is that whenever you're in the, this is for the college students particularly, try to approach incubators and accelerators. So these are the people who maybe not fund you directly, but they have good contacts, right? So first of all, whenever you're going with the idea, go with a very solid foolproof idea. मतलब ऐसा नहीं आ कहते कि मैंने एक रात पहले बाथरूम में मैंने आइडिया आया स्टार्टअप का कि अरे मैंने ये करना है, नेक्स्ट डे आई सेंड ईमेल टू कुणाल शाह, दैट विल नॉट वर्क. You have to be very much, मतलब that idea should be very much rock solid. इस पे कुछ एक छोटा सा डेक वगैरह बना हो. Then you go to these incubator. First approach is go to incubators and accelerator, because they welcome all the college people and they also give you a lot of resources. For example, setting up a company, for example, giving you a space to work at, right? That is number two. Third and most important is that they give you the access of the network. So in the world of startup, it still works on the basis of networks. अगर आप एक बंदे को पकड़ रहे हो, and if that person is very much influential in the startup space या investing space, so it is a high probability that you will tap his network, then other investors will also follow, because there is this, आपने वो herd effect होता है ना, herd effect मतलब भेड़ चाल, right? मतलब it is just like if the smartest guy is investing in this company. Let's take example of Rakesh Jhunjhunwala. अगर मुझे पता है झुंझुनवाला टाइटन का स्टॉक ले रहा है, तो बाकी लोग भी टाइटन का स्टॉक लेंगे, ये सोच के कि अरे वो इतना, ही इज वन ऑफ द बेस्ट स्टॉक इन्वेस्टर इन द कंट्री, वो पैसा कमाएगा तो उसको देख के मैं भी पैसा कमाता हूँ, मुझे क्या दिमाग लगाना है. आई इफ ही इज रनिंग हिज ओन लॉजिक, तो मैं इसके लॉजिक को बस कॉपी पेस्ट मारता हूँ. सो दैट इज व्हाट हैपेंस. सो अगर आप एक नेटवर्क को टैप कर लो, तो बाकी एंजल इन्वेस्टर्स भी आ जाते हैं. सो फर्स्ट इज incubator accelerator. Second is that try to reach out to a lot of people on email. So a lot of people think that that emails go unread. No, a lot of startup venture capital, like मैंने जो मेरा experience है, VCs और startup angel investors are the most professional way, most professional people who answer your emails even if they are not funding. मतलब मेरे कंपनी के खुद के लोग ईमेल आंसर नहीं करते हैं even after sending a lot of follow up emails, but like these people are very professional. They answer your emails and they tell you point blank कि why हमें problem ये दिखा, या why we are not interested in funding you. So the good thing, and so what you need to do is that first of all, make a list of all the angel investors. So angel investors are those people who can max to max invest 1 crore, but the definition of change हो गया. This has been extended to 10 crores because a lot of people have a lot of money. मतलब जैसे कुणाल शाह 1 crore से ऊपर invest करता है. So important thing is that to make a list and identify कि which investors के साथ आपका value align हो रहा है. If let's say example कि गौरव मुंजाल Edtech में है, so अगर आप Edtech का idea लेके जा रहे हो, तो you should pitch to गौरव मुंजाल because there's a high chance he might fund you and maybe he might also acquire you, or maybe अगर आपका startup का idea फट जाए तो he might also hire you at a good level to get the same task done. तो आपने सबसे पहले ये आइडेंटिफाई करना है कि ये जो पर्टिकुलर इंसान है इसके क्या इफ ही आल्सो इनटू द सेम इंडस्ट्री और इन द सेम स्पेस, बिकॉज इफ ही इज then he would be very much interested in funding you. Thirdly, go to VCs. VCs मतलब जैसे all those big venture capital fund like Bloom Venture, Sequoia. Go to them only when you have good amount of traction. Traction by mean that you have decent amount of numbers, at least like 10,000 users तो हो आपके पास, because वो लोग आपको तभी entertain करेंगे जब आपका product live हो, जब आपने मतलब you have a good number of customers, not necessarily वो paying customers हो, वो free customers भी हो सकते हैं, because Cred is not charging a penny from customers and उन्होंने बहुत large pool इकट्ठा कर लिया है. So it is good to have like those people who use your product. It is very much important. अगर आपने वो audience build up कर ली है, then is the right time to go to the VC capital fund. Do not go to VCs जब आपका product live भी ना हो. So that's all I want to say on the fundraising.
Concluding, thank you so much for answering all our questions. It was wonderful listening to you. I hope that this podcast will be very useful for the people who are planning to start their startup. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and like great initiatives that the students of Shahid Bhagat Singh College are taking, running this podcast series. I think that is a very beautiful way of spreading the information. So kudos to all of you for taking up this initiative, and I wish you all the best.